In sports, logic would suggest that if you combine some of the best players in their league, maybe two players at the top of the heap in that sport, the team is going to be an unstoppable force. It's basically math, isn't it? 1 + 1 = 2. Yet there are probably more instances where combining multiple players of that caliber blows up in the team's face rather than brings them the championship. Ego is a funny thing. In the summer of 1992, two bands at the absolute top of their game, two of the biggest bands in the history of music, came together for one of the most anticipated tours in rock. Metallica and Guns N' Roses were set for a summer of sold-out stadiums across North America. What could go wrong? But it was when things did go wrong where the true colors of some of the personalities within the two bands showed up. All it took was for Metallica's frontman to be engulfed in flames to turn what looked on paper like a complete home run of a tour into a cop car churning, souvenir burning, international news flaming reality.
There was an incident with the pyrotechnics. Unfortunately, James is on his way to the hospital right now.
On August 8th, 1992, 55,000 people packed Montreal's Olympic Stadium. The biggest tour of its era was coming to the largest indoor venue in Canada, with the hugest egos in hard rock compacted onto one bill. People said it could never happen. Well, they weren't far off.
We're going on tour together, so you guys figure it out, okay?
By the time they rode their buses into Quebec, Metallica was a year into eventually selling 30 million copies of the Black Album, while GNR's Use Your Illusion 1 and 2 had debuted the top 2 spots on the Billboard chart. To say people were jazzed up for the show would be an understatement. This was back when people camped out for days, lining up to buy concert tickets. This show, 55,000 or so tickets, sold out fast. The beginning of the show seemed to go off without a hitch. Openers Faith No More performed their full set with a ton of energy. Metallica hit the stage to follow, and despite playing in a huge stadium, sounded great and played for more than an hour. They were certainly playing with a good luck following us attitude. Then it happened. The intro to Fade to Black hits, there's a wave of pyro, and the sound of a guitar going way out of tune. Band disappears, and a whole lot of nothing for a good 10 minutes. The roaring crowd is left confused. Finally, accompanied with Kirk and Jason, drummer Lars Ulrich grabs the mic and explains the situation.
We're sorry, but we can't continue the concert for you guys tonight. We will come back and finish our concert and play again for you as soon as we can within the next couple of months. Thank you, Montreal. We're sorry, okay?
What had happened was that frontman James Hetfield lost his place among the pyro flash pots, a stadium-wide series of which had just gone off. James accidentally stepped into a 12-foot torch of fire. This was the first show where the band's crew increased the number of powder charges for the performance, situating the explosives at the front of the stage as well as on its outside wings. James was informed beforehand, but wasn't used to the new placements yet.
The pyro guy doesn't see me that I've walked back out there. A big colored flame goes right up under me. So I'm burnt, all my arm, my hand completely down to the bone. Side of my face, hair gone, part of my back.
James suffered second and third degree burns and was quickly rushed to a hospital. Back in the stadium, the mood in the crowd was a mixture of confusion and concern, but there's still quite a bit of show left. As a half hour drags to an hour, then to 2 hours, people in the crowd start to go from concerned to frustrated. People are tired, hot, and now annoyed. Where's Guns N' Roses? In total, 135 minutes would pass before GNR hits the stage with It's So Easy, and all is forgotten and the night will move on in epic fashion, right? Well, GNR would go on to play 9 songs. The band looked unfocused, and frontman Axl Rose kept muttering into his mic and stalking the wings rather than center stage. He would sing each passing song with less enthusiasm, eventually just sitting on the drum riser, mouthing the words to Bad Obsession, and not even moving.
We had just stopped the tour because I had throat problems. Came back, and I realized I'm going to hurt myself.
Right.
I told Slash 2 more songs. If we can't get it fixed, I got to go, you know? And then we did more than 2 more songs, and finally I was just kind of like, I don't know what to do.
Slash attempted to keep the crowd engaged during the pauses in between songs by noodling on his guitar, but the show was quickly derailing.
The PA fed back the entire time, the monitors fed back the entire time, the crowd was like non-existent.
Before chaos ensued by the end, Axl went up to the mic and told the crowd, "In case anybody here is interested, this will be our last show for a long time." They played one more song, and as it ended, Axl slammed down his mic and screamed, "I'm out of here." The band, puzzled, followed Axl off stage. After a few minutes, the house lights come on, and the screens in the stadium flash the words, "The show has been canceled. Please check the media for news."
He could have been the hero of the day, you know. We continue the show, and, you know, the band plays on, and we're here to bring music, and he throws this fit.
Axl's monitor system wasn't to his liking. Then Storm 2 of the evening kind of happened.
People had waited 2 hours plus for a 45-minute horribly performed set. Strains of "Fuck You, Guns N' Roses" could be heard.
Yeah, Guns N' Roses, fuck you!
People started throwing cups, trays, etc. Then, like an army advance, people started attacking the stage and merch booths. Security couldn't handle the waves of angry, ripped-off, tired and hot fans looking to extract revenge. Even some small fires were starting.
People just storming into the grandstands and destroying everything. Some cars were on fire, there were people hurt, and we couldn't leave. And so we went into the dressing room, you know, and they're acting like nothing happened.
Axl's down there with the cigarette holder in one hand and the champagne glass in the other. So my voice is giving me trouble.
The ensuing riot outside the stadium would rage until 1 a.m. There were 300 police officers and 400 security personnel on the scene. Pricey t-shirts were blazing in bonfires, souvenir boutiques were looted, cop cars were being overturned, and $500,000 of property was being damaged. In total, police estimate about 10,000 fans, or ex-fans, took part in the riot. About 10 people were injured, and at least 6 people arrested. Coincidentally, Axl had waited exactly 45 minutes to pull his fit, the band's contracted minimum set time. Technically, Guns N' Roses had met their contractual obligations, and no refunds or compensation would come. James would eventually recover, finishing the rest of the tour with a guitar tech playing his guitar parts. Metallica was back in Montreal 6 months later, returning for 2 half-price shows as a makeup. While Guns were despised and banned in Montreal for years, and didn't return until the Chinese Democracy version of the band played a half-empty arena 18 years later. Looking back on this tour, it's almost surprising there weren't more incidents like this. By the end, Metallica made a chunk of money, but Guns N' Roses reportedly blew all their profits on backstage parties and paying for fines for showing up late on stage. It goes to show that just because it looks like a slam dunk on paper, not all super teams succeed. 1 + 1 plus ego isn't usually a great equation. All Guns N' Roses had to do that night was finish a self-respectable set. Yet the biggest band of that era somehow turned thousands of diehard fans into a mob of violent rioters. Maybe more should have listened when Axl sang on Use Your Illusion 2's call-out track Get in the Ring, "You might not like our integrity, we built a world out of anarchy."